this first one, we have what times what gives us 7, and when we add those two factors, we get 8. So can you guys think of a number, two numbers that multiply to give us 7 and add to give us 8?
7 and 1.
Good. 7 and 1. So that's all you have to do for this type of problem. Okay. The X factoring method is set up for you. You just have to do the math. Okay. Then there's quite a lot of these that a is 1. So the number in the front of x squared is just 1. How do we set up this type of problem? So I'm going to draw an x. What needs to go on the top of the x? So b goes on the bottom. So negative 11 goes on the bottom, and 30 goes on the top. So a times c, 1 times 30 is 30. So now we need factors that multiply to give us 30 and add to give us negative 11. If the number on the top is positive and the number on the bottom is negative, that means we need two numbers that are negative, because negative times a negative, that will give us a positive number. So we're looking for two negative numbers that multiply to give us 30, but when we add them, we get negative 11. It's negative 11. Good. Negative 6 times negative 5 gives us 30, positive 30, and negative 6 plus negative 5 gives us negative 11. Good. So then we're going to put these into our factors. So our variable is x, so x, and then minus 6, and x minus 5. So that will be our answer for number 4. Okay, so the answer on the test has to be a pair of factors, so two things in parentheses. Okay. All right, let's do one where a is not 1. Can you guys find one where a is not 1? Okay, so let's also talk about the last row. We haven't talked about this type, so go ahead and cross off 13, 14, and 15. We're not going to do 13, 14, and 15. We haven't talked about how to do those. So on the test, there will only be 12 questions. We'll just cross out 13, 14, 15 on the test too. Good. Okay, look for another one that has a is not 1. Okay, 7. Let's focus. Okay, so I'm going to set up my x to factor. What needs to go on the top here? Good, negative 5 and 14. Negative 5 times 14. Good, so we have a times c. That goes on the top. Do you guys know that? What is negative 5 times 14? I don't know that. Negative 70. So negative 70. Things that multiply to give us negative 70. And then add to give us negative 9. So when I look at this problem, I see negative 70 on the top. If the top number is negative, the only way to get a negative is one has to be a negative and one has to be a positive. So then this number down here is a negative. That means the difference between these two factors of 70, the bigger number is going to be negative and the smaller number is going to be positive. Okay. All right, can you guys think of anything that multiplies to give us negative 70 and adds to give us negative 9? Can you think of anything? And if we can't think of anything, then what I like to do is I just like to write up factors of the top number. So factors of 70. So I've got, does that work? Then that works? Okay, good. So, but which one needs to be negative? Oops. Good. I agree with you. Yep, I wrote it down and I realized I was wrong. Thanks. What? No, not always. That's not always true. In this case, it's true. But that does not always work. Yeah. Okay, so remember A is not 1. So what do we need to do when A is not 1? Do you remember? Good, the bottoms up method. So we're going to write our variable. So x minus 14, and then this factor divided by A. So A is 14. And then we write our variable x plus 5 divided by A, 14. So that before we use the bottom up method, I've seen a few people do this. They don't simplify. It won't work unless you simplify, all right? So first you have to simplify. So what's 14 divided by 14? Can we simplify that? Yeah, good. So we have x minus 1, perfect. And can we simplify this? 5 divided by 14. This one's simplified. So now we can, once it's simplified, then we can use the bottoms up method. We can take the bottom of the fraction and bring it up in front of x. So 14x plus 5. And then this will be our answer. And we can always check these factors if I do the FOIL method. So I do first times the first. That will give me 14x squared. If I do last times the last, that gives me negative 5. And I could do the inside terms too. Negative 1 times 14x plus x times 5, that gives me negative 9. So this one works out. So if you're getting stuck, that's another way to check. You can just go backwards, re-multiply through, and see. Okay. All right, do you guys feel okay about those? Do you have any questions you want to do up here? Or you guys ready to just do some review? Yeah, number 3? Oh, you're okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Sounds good.
And then it should just, right now it's already recording us. Okay. And then there's a microphone going and everything else. And then you'll just hit stop recording.